Welcome to my video. Today, I have a lot to uncover. Today, we're going to talk about feminism and how it's used as a weapon today, and it's pointing specifically to what is going on today over in the Middle East. So I have a couple of videos. One, two, three videos. I got a couple of videos, and I have an article that I just found a couple of days ago, and in the definition. So I'm going to jump right into it. So welcome again. Bakatah Yahweh, Bakatah Yahushai, Kol Halo Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Wahab Kwakadash. All praises, honor, glory, and power to Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Bashem Yahushai, our Lord and Savior. Double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Honors and respect to the prophets and teachers of Great Millstone, which is Torah and is still teaching me this truth. Great respect to fellow believers, Yakim and Yaquath, and the remnant of Israel, which includes the 144,000 and 1/3 mixed multitude, promised mercy and salvation from our Lord. So I'm going to jump right in because I have a lot to cover. There's a lot to unpack. All right, so let's start with, let's just dive right into this article. Western feminism and its blind spots in the Middle East. The message leading Western feminists sending to Palestinian women is loud and clear. Your suffering does not matter. Now, this is coming from the so-called, the softer side of us. And now we can assume that these are Edomites because Edomites are the ones over there fighting the Hamites. They're fighting the what is it? Not the Hamites. Not the Edomites. Anyway, they're fighting other heathens. The name will jump in my mind in a second. Okay. In our current era, where digital platforms wield unparalleled influence, X, previously known as Twitter, is the closest thing we have to a global public square. Within this vast marketplace of ideas, a subset of Western feminists have unilaterally assumed leadership roles, fashioning themselves as the gatekeepers of who is real feminist and who truly constitute feminism. Now, we know that when we say Western feminism, we know that we're talking about Edomites, probably small hats or those that benefit from a small hat. Okay? Since October 7th, these leading feminists have been bombarding this all-important digital landscape with posts vociferously condemning the Hamas attack on Israel while excusing or simply ignoring the ongoing collective punishment of more than 2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip that followed. Some even attempt to frame Israel's indiscriminate bombardment and total siege of the tiny enclave, which already claimed the lives of over 5,000 men, women, and children, as acceptable retaliation for Hamas actions and lawful self-defense. Let's be clear. What is in question here is not their condemnation of the violence Hamas inflicted on Israeli women, but their apparent indifference to, in some cases, enthusiastic endorsement of the violence currently being wielded against Palestinian women. These so-called feminists are not only failing to show any empathy or support for the long-standing suffering of Palestinian women, but are also joining in the increasing efforts to silence those expressing any hint of sympathy for them. And a lot of this this the silencing shows up in the form of people quitting their jobs, of firing people, of billionaires leaving their post, taking their money with them. All of this in an effort to silence what's going on in the Middle East. The UN Consul General, I want to say, he spoke out in the General Assembly, and he said that Israeli is committing atrocities, international law, and no one is immune from international law. And the Israeli counselor, prime minister, whatever his name is, he was there, and he condoned what the UN prime minister said, and is asking for this guy's resignation. That's how much of victim playing he's willing to go, because they're constantly the victims. Not only are they the criminals, the starters of all these crazy things going on the earth, they like to propose themselves or show themselves as the victims. Let's go on. Whenever anyone, especially someone with certain public profile, posts a message on X supporting Palestine and acknowledging the decades-long suffering of Palestinian people under Israeli occupation and oppression, they are forced with the same loaded question many times over: do you support Hamas? Do you condemn the attacks on Israel's civilians? I just want to make sure that I hadn't missed anything. In response, some feel intimidated and reverse course, while others either refuse to engage or try to challenge the assumptions of these self-appointed public interrogators. But however they respond, they face the same barrage of abuse, intimidation, and insults from those who stand with Israel, including many prominent Western feminists. Phrases and labels such as anti-Semite, rape apologists, support for rape and kidnapping for women, support for a terrorist group that governs with Sharia law, and notably, not a true feminist are liberally bandied about. So I want to ask all these feminists in the West who are not only making posts, signing statements, and writing columns unconditionally supporting Israel's right to defend itself, but also working tirelessly to cancel anybody who dares to either put a spotlight on decades of Palestinian suffering or call for an end to Israel's indiscriminate bombardment of Gaza, which is killing and maiming hundreds of women and girls every single day. Is this what you call feminism? Your brand of feminism, which seemingly applies only to a certain subset of predominantly white, Western and Western-aligned women, is difficult to stomach. You rightly condemn the violence Hamas inflicted on Israeli women, yet you are not only silent on the suffering of Palestinian women, but are trying to silence anyone else who is brave enough to speak up for them. Today's Gaza women and children are not only under heavy bombardment, but also on a starvation diet thanks to Israel's total siege. Is this not a crime against women that merits attention and condemnation? How do you call yourself a feminist while excusing, even supporting punitive, genocidal actions of a powerful state against a helpless people trapped in an open-air prison? How can you so easily brush away the harrowing experiences of hundreds of thousands of women who lack the power to change their circumstance? Western feminism, apparent indifferent to statements like that of Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant likening Palestinians to human animals, is deeply alarming. If your feminism does not make you stand up for a people who experience little other than ethnic cleansing, oppression, and occupation since 1948, who have been trying to survive under a crippling blockade for 17 years, who are being defined as human animals and who are now facing what can only be described as genocide, then what is it for? If these realities do not encourage you to take a stance, it's hard to imagine what will. Are Palestinian women somehow not women enough to be deserving of your feminist advocacy? I hope it weighs on your conscience by endorsing Israel's right to defend itself at any cost. You're condoning violence against women and children, the very democratic claim to champion, by honoring the plight of the Palestinian people, by trying to brand as anti-Semitic and anti-feminist anyone who dares to support their struggle. You are making evidence that not all lives matter, not all women hold the same value in your eyes. Now, as you can see, that the comments of the article says it, women of the West, which are white women. See, feminism is the creation of a white doctrine by white women. And it's sad to see that it's sprung into other races, other nations, the so-called black woman, and she just ran amok with it. She's buck wild with it, and other women, other Israelite women, and so it's just insane. So what I'm gonna do now is let's explain. Let's get the definition of feminism.
Feminism.
The advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. Now, first of all, there's a problem right there because the sexes are not equal, not at all. The Lord made the woman to support the man, to be the spouse to the man, a helpmeet. But that is not how Esau see it. The inclusion of these women in art history textbooks shows the impact feminism had on the field. Women's liberation, women's rights, post-feminism, and womanism. Feminism definition, history, types, waves, examples, and facts. I'm not going to go deep into that because I have a video. We're just going to read the definition. Feminism, the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. Although largely originated in the West, feminism is manifested worldwide and is represented throughout most of the Western history. Women are confined to the domestic sphere, while public life was reserved for men in medieval Europe. Some women, I'll just read a little more. Some women, let me see, life was, wow, public life reserved for men. Was it? Throughout most of Western history, women were confined to domestic sphere, while public life was reserved for men. In medieval Europe, women were denied the right to own property, to study, or to participate in public life. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to go into that. I just wanted to give you a basic definition of feminism. And so, let me see. Let's go. I got a short video.
How many of you would call yourselves feminists?
Would I call myself a feminist?
If feminism means to advocate for equal rights between both genders, then yes, I would consider myself a feminist.
By that definition that I gave, I would be a feminist, yes.
I like to go out, feel safe the same way men do, not having to feel like I have to hold my keys between my knuckles.
Would you shout from the rooftops, "I am a feminist"? Or is there something stopping you?
There are definitely some negative stereotypes.
When people say feminist, they hear that word and think, oh, women who just want to be better than men.
I just wanted to make a point that the closer you get to college campuses, the question of sexism, is a woman, or if man is a man, then you start getting these people that are blinded by this wine. They're vexed with the witchcraft of Esau because, one of the questions that has been thrown about is what is a man? What is a woman? And they can't answer it. The other day I was watching this one show, and the question was asked, can a man menstruate? And the person went to people on the street and people in the college campuses. The people on the college campuses, they act like it was a trick question. They couldn't answer it. Some said yes. Some was like, I'm not sure I'll get back with you, And one guy was explaining, was a Jake. He was explaining that, yeah, he could menstruate because he was explaining, the flashes and the stuff, the flashes that a woman to go through, not the physical departing of blood from the woman, but all the other stuff, and he was counting that as menstruation. So the society is done. They don't even know what man. They can't even know what a man and woman is. So they stay away from it to protect whatever they have, their job, their the crowd. It's just insane. But I digress.
Feminism is a political movement against sexism. There's a backlash to new movements of feminism, unfortunately, with the idea of men's rights groups that are not feminist groups, that see contemporary feminism as taking something away from them when it's not. It's about creating a more equal world for all, inclusive.
And that's because there was brainwashed. That's how it was sold to them. Most of the advertisements, well, matter of fact, the advertisements historically are geared toward women because women believe what they see. They're quick to jump on board. I noticed in the workplace, I was having sometimes, like when I would have a debate or a conflict with my superiors or my seniors or something, and I make my point, get it across, especially if it's something that I know, because a lot of times, where I work, that they hired people based on their resume, or you have to be a female, Edomite, Caucasian, or Indian, anybody other than a Negro, so on. I watched women hire other women. I've seen the whole nonsense, and so when I make my points, one of my coworkers, she was quick to just say, "Well, let it go, man," because she was easy to comply. So my point is, most of your females will easily comply, and they'll jump right on the bandwagon, not thinking for themselves, but they're ready to fight as long as it has something to do mostly against men.
These misunderstandings about feminism have been around for a long time, pretty much from the start of the feminist movement in the late 19th century, when the campaign to allow women to vote hit Australia. Around the world, similar movements were led by an activist group called the suffragettes. At this point in history, women had a very small amount of independence, and that was all taken away from them as soon as they got married. After they tied the knot, women weren't allowed to keep working. They weren't allowed to own property or easily file for divorce or maintain custody of their children or have any financial independence.
So you hear these issues. Now, none of these issues affect Jakes. Jakes was still walking around in slavery and being redlined from getting homes and apartments and foods and jobs. They had none of these issues. Feminism is all for the so-called citizens. And we know that further Negroes are not citizens under the Constitution. We still consider 3/5 a citizen. And I don't know what, I don't remember what revision changed that allowed us to be a whole citizen, but it's still written as 3/5 of a citizen in the Constitution so that we were not allowed to vote. So as you can see, this is all generated for the white women, nothing to do with us. But like I said, women, doesn't matter what ethnicity, they are ready to jump on board and be lied to and swindled. That's why Satan went to Eve, because he knew he could not sell that wine to Adam.
In 1902, Australia became just the second nation in the world to allow women to vote and run for parliament. Thanks to this first wave of feminism, women could now elect women who could create laws for women. Fast forward a few decades and a couple of world wars, and we get to the roar of women's liberation in the 1960s and 1970s, known as the second wave. In the early 60s, a little thing called the contraceptive pill came on the market in Australia, which meant women no longer had to choose between a career and having a relationship or a family. So they went to work. There was more awareness about reproductive rights in general, about violence against women and sexual harassment in the workforce, and some of the most celebrated female writers that we still study today.
Okay, I just wanted to get that point out because I'm going to jump right into another video where we will discuss that. Let's go right into this one. Oh, I stopped sharing. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, okay, I'm still sharing. Okay. I thought I had stopped sharing. I thought I had messed up. All right. Let's go right into this.
This movement was fighting for equal opportunity for women in education and the workforce. The sexual revolution was fighting for all sorts of sexual freedoms. Cosmo, we pretended that this sexual revolution was a freedom for women. It actually was not. It was actually kind of a slavery. But we pretended it was freedom for women. And over time, as the sexual revolution and the women's movement got identified closer and closer together, a lot of women began to buy into that illusion. The feminist movement was fighting for equal opportunity for women in education and the workforce. The sexual revolution was fighting for all sorts of sexual freedoms. Cosmo, we pretended that this sexual revolution was a freedom for women. It actually was not. It was actually kind of a slavery. But we pretended it was freedom for women. And over time, as the sexual revolution and the women's movement got identified closer and closer together, a lot of women began to buy into that illusion.
And a lot of women that are now working, they are, I mean, the marriage rate, well, inside the so-called Negro, the Jakes, from Judah, tribe of Judah, the divorce rate is 80%. The marriage rate is like 50%, but the divorce rate is 80%, and it's followed by women. What was it? Yeah, divorce rate. Well, okay, 1 out of 4 Jakes is going to get married. Judah. And I don't know this. I don't know statistics. I'm not trying to show any statistics, but But my point is, the women, they wanted to work. They didn't know what they was asking for. They just wanted to fight. Now they can work, and they realize, I don't want to do this every day. I messed up. It's too late now. You know, the buy-in is there. You can't get out of it. So, but I have another one. Another one that's gonna paint the picture even more.
Nick Rockefeller, okay, who was one of the Rockefeller family. And he, when I was running for governor in Nevada, I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller, okay, who was one of the Rockefeller family. And he, when I was running for governor in Nevada, he came to me, introduced himself to me through an attorney, and we became friends. We started talking about things. And
be specific about when you met Rockefeller, how it happened in these discussions.
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him and I liked him. And he was a very, very smart man. And we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. And he's the one of the things they told me was that he was at the house one night and he would talk and he started laughing. He said, Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about? And I said, I had pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote. You know, and he started to laugh. He said, you're an idiot. And I said, why am I an idiot? He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded women's lib, you know, and we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He says, there were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before women's lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think, which it breaks up the family. The kids start looking at the state as the family, as the school, as the officials, as their family, not as the parents teaching them. And so those are the two primary reasons for women's lib, which I thought up to that point was a noble thing. You know, when I saw their intentions behind it, where they were coming from when they created it, the thought of it, I saw the evil behind what I thought was a noble venture.
Aaron, did you know that Gloria Steinem, in one of her own books, now admits the CIA funded Miss Magazine?
No, I had no idea about that. No, I never heard that.
Yeah, we're going to.
CIA funded Miss Magazine?
Funded Miss Magazine with the stated goal of taxing women and breaking up the family.
No kidding. I never heard that. Well, Nick told me. I mean, I know it, but not because I know the CIA was involved in it.
Well, Gloria Steinem was proud of it. Oh, the CIA wanted to help me help women.
No kidding.
So they funded it. Yeah, and of course it's divide and conquer.
Right.
And what they do is they focus in obviously on real problems. Women were getting shafted in many ways, but the elite wasn't planning to help them. They were planning to really shaft them and take men away from them. Look at what they did with black families. They only had about 10% of legitimacy 50 years ago in black communities, and now it's over 90%. And look at welfare. You were going to give you some money, but you can't have a man in the house.
Right.
And so that was further to degrade the family. Totally destroyed. And now illegitimacy is over 50% in the general population.
Right. Well, see, the whole thing is these people control the money, so they make all the rules. You understand? And they put whatever rules they want into effect. And the truth is, America.
So there you have it. I don't even need to even comment on that. Anything that I could have said, it said it better than I could have ever expressed it. So now let's get into some precepts. Oh, we could watch let's see, let me see. We still have a little bit of time. Let's watch some more of this.
Came into the spotlight.
Now remember, this is Feminism culture is blown up all over the West. You got schools, you got books, because the money people, the people that run the nation, runs these societies, they're funding it, and it just blew up. And when we were talking about the so-called woman, it jumping on board, anything different, anything other than doing what the scripture, what the Lord made her do. She wants to do something else, hate the Most High. That's what that is, as a demonstration of hate.
And now, in 2023, we can vote. We can hold jobs even after we're married. We can get divorced, run for parliament. We can drink in bars, own houses. We've got the...
This is all non-female stuff. We can kill our babies. We can work. We can drink. Yeah.
Kill the Sex Discrimination Act. We've had a female Prime Minister and her misogyny speech.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man.
We play footy and cricket and any other sport we want. We've had Me Too and March for Justice. It's all progress. So do we still need feminism?
Yes, I still think that feminism is still required.
There's still an idea of women being objectified nowadays. So there's always that lingering fear as a woman to walk around alone.
I can't take it anymore. When they start talking about women being objectified, I want to just go to get a list of every fan's Instagram, YouTuber, and just ask her, are you being objectified? Who's objectifying you? Because they're objectifying themselves, so it's a double standard. Okay, so let's get into some precepts. Enough of that. Let me see. Let's start with Job. And forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. This right here is discussing an ostrich. Okay, how when it talks about when an ostrich which leaveth her eggs in the earth and warmeth them in dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. She is hardened against her young ones, and as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain. Her labor is in vain without fear, because the Most High hath deprived her of wisdom, neither has he imparted to her understanding. Now, this is speaking about an ostrich, but the similitude fits the so-called female of the species, the woman. She has none understanding. Why think that women are not allowed to speak in the church? Women are supposed to remain silent and teach at home under the leadership of the man who's under the leadership of Yahushua. Ecclesiastes 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. And that fits the women, modern women today, the women of this age today, because they are so into themselves. You know, I mean, they had it good, you know, working and allowing the man to go to work and do what he's supposed to do to take care of her. But money be equal. Now, you know, she's about to get that draft. Then they're gonna be complaining, I don't want to go to war. Or when I was in, what the women would do was they can get pregnant to get out, and a lot of them was doing that. They was you know, getting pregnant to get out. And they were getting out early, some of them, and you really couldn't prove what they were doing. So it's hard to call discrimination, but they did it and it worked. A loud crying woman and a scold shall be sought out to drive away the enemies. And I suppose that's what these so-called feminists are trying to do. They're trying to cry loud enough to drive out the enemies. But they have no compassion. They don't know who the enemy is. You know, their enemy is righteousness, because you have a whole group of people that's trying to erase a whole culture, a whole clan, and you consider them to be, you know, on the side of good. First Corinthians 14 and 34. Let your women keep silent in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the churches. But see, that's the way a woman is supposed to conduct herself in righteousness. But under Esau's government, women were given, you know, certain freedoms. There's let me see, there's one. Well, we'll get to it. Proverbs 31 and 10. Again, I'm going to read down from 10 to 31. Who can find a virtuous woman? For a price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. Oh, snap. Lucky. She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She rises also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it, and with the fruit of her hands she planteth vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by light. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretches out her hand to the poor, yea, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. and not so in this society. Once Eve got a decent job, she ready to dash from Jacob, any man. The thing about man and then women, when a man gets riches, he finds a way to share it with everybody. When a woman gets riches, she hugs it for herself and she'll spend his riches and call him a bum, not give the man anything. Give not thy strength unto a woman, nor the ways to that which destroyeth kings. Now it's known that if you want to destroy a kingdom, you go to the women. Now that's proof, because what happened with Eve, Satan went to Eve and he offered her the fruit because he knew that he couldn't get away with Adam. So he went to Eve, and Eve jumped all over it, and he started with the lie and promises, and he called the Lord a liar. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Right? And we live in a society full of fools, foolish women, and the sense that pay homage to them, that keeps them strong. How long will that go about, thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. And I was talking about when I at my job, my place of employment, the women was getting jobs like that. They was getting hired. I was in my particular area for like 7 years. I was pretty much an expert, even over my bosses, that they didn't know the job as well as I did. But and I trained as one, my partner, not my partner, but with my coworker, and she basically was a slow thinker, didn't know much at all. But she got promoted and I didn't, because she would go on and I wouldn't go on. And I kind of resented it at first, but then I realized, thank God that the Lord took me out of there, because I would still be there now. I would be trying to balance this and that, knowing that I really didn't want to be there. So, I would have took the promotion, but still, like I said, I would be in the worst state. This is the best thing the Lord could have done for me, was allow me to realize that you don't need this, walk away, and I did, and I couldn't be more happier. And they're suffering, because I was talking with them, and they kind of don't want to be employed anymore. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm still sharing this. Okay. And I just retired. I got away from them. So y'all can have this life with Esau. I'm done with them. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made it not, or shall the thing framed say to him that framed it, he hath no understanding? And in this culture, the woman is trying to be a man, and the man is turning into a woman, and that's all co-signed by this society. If you see one of the rainbow community, if you call them by misgender or you could do anything to offend them, you could possibly be fined or get put in jail in some places. Now, when someone tells me a grown 250-pound man with muscles bigger than mine tell me that he's a woman, I feel like a woman. What he's saying is the Lord made a mistake. I'm supposed to be a woman. That's the definition of sin. That's profanity. That is, and that's your indication that this world is wicked. Period. There ain't no understand he's just a person. No, just a demon. And the Lord's going to deal with him. And, I mean, I want to see it. I hope I'm around, that the Lord keeps me around, that I can see it. Where is it? Okay. Psalms. Was it? Yeah. On 49.9. To execute upon them that has been written, this honor of all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. I like this. Sound like the saints is gonna help execute judgment on the wicked. So when we go in the kingdom, the prophets, the elect are going to be the ones, or the 144,000 are going to go into the dig these Edomites out of those caves, and we're gonna manage the so-called slaves in our kingdom. That's what that sounds like to me. If it's not, then I think that's what it is. So if anybody know, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, that's not where I want it. This is where I want it. The aged women likewise, they that be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, and the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai be not blasphemed. That is the opposite of what goes on in this kingdom. The opposite. The woman, she's supposed to be like a breath of fresh air. I can't wait to get home. But that's not true here. Okay, Jeremiah 49. And I'm going to read start from 12 to 22. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink the cup has assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Bosra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together, and come against her, and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen, and despise among them. And that's what's happening right now with Great Babylon. Because with what Israel, the Israelis are doing over there, and to the Hamas, other nations are getting pissed off, because they're just doing it. They're showing that they're the ones that are the aggressors, even in spite of the Hamas that started, and they can't be controlled. Okay, and they're showing that they're the ones that are behind all the violence and stuff of the earth. Their terribleness has deceived thee in the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock. Thou holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as an eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord. No one shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the dwelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong. But I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is he? For who is like me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against East Edom and his purposes, that he hath purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall overtake their habitations and desolate them. And the Israelis are the least of the flock because what they're doing is drawing out the other nations, putting a microscope on Esau, Edom, and there's already other nations that's gathered down in that nation you're ready to fight, according to prophecy, and they don't even know it. Let me see, 22. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard of in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle, and his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. And let me see. And I'm going to see. Am I still here? Yeah, I am. What the? How did I lose that? Okay, I gotta go back and dig for that again. Six, 26, 22. A harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. And that is what these so-called feminists, these women, I won't say all of them, but that is the doctrine they're subscribing to. A harlot. They're not home with their family, doing what they want to do because Esau has told them that's what they should do. And now one last scripture. I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou hast made this world for our sake. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. Okay. And as you can see, that this talking about everybody. So the war, the conflict on the other side of the world in our land is prophecy, it's prophetic, it is supposed to happen. That is where the Lord is going to take vengeance. He's going to make a decision on the so-called heathen, the Gentiles. Everybody's going to pay. but they don't see it. But anyway, I'm going to close out here. I pray that I was edifying. I think I was probably jumping all over the place, but I wanted to get all that information to you. So my disclaimer is: remember that the MOTB is right around the corner. Famine of the Word and the famine, and the World War III, or the Third World. You can see it, especially with what's going on. Nothing is hidden anymore. Everything is coming into light as is planned by the Lord. So I hope that you were edified. Until the next time, Shalom. Have a wonderful day. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kwame Rashala, and the Bible.